We have Economics Paper 2, October 2023. Question 1. It said, which one of the following will result in a movement along the aggregate supply curve? An increase in the cost of raw materials.
No, of the AS curve.
It will be a what? A leftward shift.
Mhm.
An increase in the cost of raw materials, will it bring about movement?
Will bring about movement in the AS curve.
An increase in the cost of production.
Yeah. Leftward.
Is it movement or shift?
Shift.
Okay. A decrease in the cost of energy.
It will bring about a shift.
An increase in the price level.
That would bring about a movement.
Movement. A decrease in the rate of indirect tax.
Also shift.
Rightward or leftward shift?
Rightward shift.
Okay, so an increase in cost of raw materials will bring about what? Leftward shift, leftward. A decrease in the cost of energy, rightward. An increase in the price level, movement. Increase in the price level,
That's
movement.
movement, okay.
A decrease in the rate of indirect tax,
Shift leftward.
leftward. So the answer is C, right? Question 1. C. We go to question 2. Japan's productivity is significantly lower than the productivity of France and Italy. The government of Japan aims to increase the country's productivity. Which one of the following is a free market supply side policy? Before going into that, what is productivity?
Productivity is it's
Productivity is what? Output divided by input.
yeah, it's like how efficiently inputs are turned into outputs.
Yes, that's productivity, okay? So, they say, which one of the following is a free market supply side policy? What are free market supply side policy?
They're policies that aim to influence the supply in the economy.
Output.
Output, yeah.
So, which one of the following is a free market supply side? Investment in education and training?
That is an interventionist.
Interventions, okay? Privatization of state-owned industries?
Yes,
Why?
because
And what is privatization?
it's turning the state-owned industries into private ownership. So it's no more the state that
The transfer of state-owned assets, businesses into the hands of the private sector. That is industrial privatization. And that will bring about what?
An increase in the free market's output.
Output, okay? So the answer is B. So why is it not C? Investment in infrastructure projects.
C is not correct because this is an interventionist supply side policy.
Investment in infrastructure. Providing finance for business startups.
Same reason.
Providing finance for business startups, okay? So the answer is B. Okay. Question 3. The value of Burundi's multiplier is estimated to be approximately 0.1. All things being equal, which one of the following would cause an increase in the value of a country's multiplier?
Okay.
What is multiplier?
Multiplier is 1 over MPW.
Okay. So an increase in the marginal propensity to save, will it increase the multiplier?
Wait, 1 second.
An increase in the marginal propensity to save.
No,
Is it an injection or?
it's a withdrawal.
So will it increase the multiplier?
No.
Okay. An increase in the marginal propensity to imports.
No.
Why?
Because 1 second. There will be a decrease in the value of the multiplier, Mr. If there's like marginal propensity to import.
Increases. If
If
it increases,
there's more withdrawal in the economy.
okay, that's what I want to know. Yeah, that's what I want to hear from you. A decrease in marginal propensity to tax.
Yes,
Why?
because it's an injection.
Yes, it's an injection. Why is it an injection? Tax. Why is it an injection?
Because it generates government revenue.
Okay.
So there's more government.
A decrease in marginal propensity to tax. Why is it an injection?
Because
yes.
Why is
a decrease in marginal propensity to tax? becomes an injection.
Because it increases government revenue, therefore
Listen, an increase in, they said a decrease in marginal propensity to tax. Why is a decrease in marginal propensity to tax an injection? It's an injection because it increases consumption. If tax rate reduces, consumption increases because individual disposable income would rise. Firms will be able to invest more. Profit will increase, income will increase for profit will increase for firms, income will increase for household individuals, and that increases consumption. Consumption is an injection in the capital. Consumption
is a part of component of aggregate demand.
So that increases the value of Contis multiplier.
Mhm.
Okay. A decrease in marginal propensity to consume.
It's not correct because this will decrease the value of the multiplier.
Good. Question 4.
Yes.
So question 2 is what? Question 2.
Question 2 is B.
B.
And question 3 is C.
Question 3. C. We go to question 4. So for question 4, they said the diagram shows a country's trend growth rate and its actual growth rate. Which one of the following can be deduced from the diagram? The rate of economic growth is increasing between point A and B.
Why is it not correct?
Yeah.
It's not correct because between A and B, the economy is experiencing a negative economic growth.
So there is economic decline
Yeah.
from point A to B, right?
Yes.
Economic decline from A to B. Okay. Okay. So the diagram shows, like earlier, the diagram shows the country's trend, growth rate, and its actual growth rate. Which one of the following can be deduced from the diagram? So based on this diagram, we have, I said, the rate of economic growth rate is increasing between point A and B. Point A and B is showing, is it an economic growth or economic decline?
Decline.
So point A and B is showing an economic decline. So it's a negative, right?
Negative.
So it is not A. It is not A, right?
Mhm.
B, there's a negative output gap at point B.
Yes.
At point B, there's a negative output gap because it's in decline. Okay, there's a negative output
Because
gap.
it's below the trend growth rate.
It's below the trend growth rate. So the answer is B, right?
Mhm.
Okay, done. Then why is it not C? They said there's a positive output gap at point C. At point C, is it a positive output gap?
No, because there is no output gap at C.
So the economy is at its actual growth rate.
Yeah.
Is at the point, it's on the boundary. So that there's no output gap. Output gap occurs if the potential is different from the actual. So here it's at this point of the trend. So it's not output gap. There's no output gap. Either negative or positive, no. It's on the trend growth rate. So it's not C. Then D, they said the level of unemployment is increasing between point C and D. Point C and D is showing what?
It's showing that the economy is growing, and with greater output, unemployment is likely to fall.
Okay. Is there output gap or not?
Yes.
There's output gap. And if there's output gap, it means there's what? A fall in unemployment rate.
Mhm.
So
Positive output gap.
yeah, positive output gap, yes. Negative is below, positive is above.
Mhm.
So this is negative, this is negative, this is positive. So the level of unemployment is increasing between point C and D. No, the level of unemployment is likely to fall because there's output gap, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it, so the answer is what?
The answer is B.
The answer is B. Okay. think that is clear, right?
Yeah.
So last question. That's question 4, right?
Mhm.
So above the trend level is a positive output gap.
Yes.
Below the trend level is what? A negative output gap.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, we'll move on. That's about actual growth and trend growth rate.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 5.
Yep. The bank of is not real.
Question 5. So they said the table shows Ireland's GNI between 2019 and 2021. If 2019 is the base year, which one of the following represents the index year? 2019 is the base year, which represents the index year. So how do you get it? The difference between 2021 and 2019. The index number, okay? So we said 372, 372.09 minus 309.77 divided by the base year, right? 309.77 multiplied by 100. So that gives you 120.01, 1.20.1. Okay. Okay. All right. Go to question 6. Oh, question 7. Why am I going back -1? Yeah, question 7, right?
Yep.
In 2022, meat-free sausages and bacterial surface wipes were added to the UK's consumer CPI basket of goods and services. At the same time, coal and men's suit were removed from this basket. There's no reason why it is necessary to regularly update the CPI basket of goods and services. What is CPI? Consumer Price Index.
Yes.
What's CPI?
How the basic average of price of goods and services in the basket changes.
Over time. So CPI is used to measure what?
It's measured to growth, inflation.
Inflation. Okay. The reason why CPI must be updated is that inflation basket is accurately measured, okay? Considering consumers' taste changes frequently, so considering consumers' taste changes frequently, so there may be changes in demand for goods, like for example, the addition of meat, free sausages, and the removal of coal men's suits. Okay. So that's question 7. Question 8.
I have one.
They said between June 2021 and June 2022, the saving ratio in the USA fell from 9.5 to 5.1. Draw aggregate demand and short-term aggregate supply diagram to show the likely impact of this change in the savings ratio on the economy of the USA. So if the saving ratio falls, what does that mean?
Saving ratio falls, there's more consumption.
Spending increases, right?
Mhm.
So what is savings?
Saving is the money you didn't spend.
Is that what I said to you? I said saving is the income
Okay, the income
that was
not
spent.
spent.
That was not spent. That is saving. So a fall in savings means an increase in consumption. A fall in savings means an increase in consumption, right? That increases aggregate demand, yes or no? Why does it increase aggregate demand?
Because consumption is a component of aggregate demand. C plus, it's positive.
Okay, thank you. So the graphical representation is this. We have. So what happens to the price level?
It rises.
Okay. So this is the graphical representation of an aggregate demand and short-run aggregate supply curve. Short-run aggregate supply. We have our output here, real output, real output. We have the price level. So Y1, Y2, AD1, AD2, PL1, PL2. So real output will increase from Y1 to Y2. As aggregate demand will shift out rightward from AD1 to AD2, and the price level will increase from PL1 to PL2, right? Good. So that was question 8. Go to question 9. Are you there? Question 9 says, so question 9 says this, we have the components and the billions. What is being equal? Calculate the aggregate demand for this economy. And what is aggregate demand?
It's the total
demand within the economy, right? So the formula for aggregate demand is
C plus I plus G times X plus X minus M.
okay. So we have C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay. So that gives you 25.62 billion, right? Yep. Okay. So let's see. So here we have the components, and we're supposed to calculate the aggregate demand for this country or this economy. So we have to use the components of aggregate demand. So aggregate demand is AD equals to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. That is aggregate demand. So we have consumption, which is 15 points. We have consumption. So we have consumption, which is 15.76 plus plus 15.76 plus investment, which is 2.3 plus government spending, which is 6.14 plus exports minus imports plus export, which is 8.43. We have 15.76 plus 2.3 2.3 plus 2. So we have to calculate for aggregate demand, and aggregate demand is AD equals to C plus I plus G plus X minus F. So where we have our aggregate demand to be 15 15.76 plus 4.28 to 8 plus 3.2. Okay, that gives us 25.62, right? 15.767, 2.3, 6.14, 8.43, 7.01, 25.62 billion. Okay, that's sorted. So the aggregate demand are consumption plus investment plus government spending plus exports minus imports. That's how we get our aggregate demand. So go to question 10, right? We said Guinea's real GDP. Please, can you help get me water, please? Hold on. Question 10, it said Guinea's real GDP per capita increased from 4127 to 5434 between 2013 and 2021. Guinea's average world happiness score for 2012 to 2014 and 2020 to 2022 is shown in the table. The score gives a value between 0 and 10, where 10 is the highest level of subjective happiness. With reference to Guinea, explain one likely impact of higher real incomes on subjective happiness. Before we go into that, what is GDP per capita?
It's the total output of goods and services per person in an economy.
Per person. So what's the formula for GDP per capita?
GDP divided by population.
GDP divided by population. Okay. What's subjective happiness?
Subjective happiness is
What's subjective happiness?
subjective happiness. What is subjective happiness? It's like like it's like how happy the population feels or like is happy about satisfied of the economy.
Subjective Happiness. Subjective happiness. No. What is subjective happiness? Subjective happiness. I told you the other day what subjective happiness was.
It's like the well-being or satisfaction from a personal perspective about the economy.
What brings about subjective happiness?
Money, consumption, monetary wealth.
I told you that the subjective happiness is linked.
It's a human development index, right?
It's linked to income.
Yeah.
Certain variables that bring about the happiness of people. Certain variables that like income, their standard of living,
health,
that brings about
relationships,
how happy they become.
work satisfaction.
This is what subjective happiness is. That means it is a variable that links to being happy. So, oh, we are happy. I'm happy because my income has increased. Oh, I'm happy because I've got this. I'm happy because I've got that. That is subjective happiness. And here they said, okay, so you go the greater the GDP per capita, PPP, the higher the world happiness. What is PPP?
Per person. Like, what does it stand for?
Yeah, you wrote it. Am I not writing it? PPP.
It's the purchasing power parity, mister.
Purchasing power parity. So what does purchasing power parity needs to do with subjective happiness?
Because it's the way to compare the value of money, mister.
From who to who?
Between countries.
Between countries. Okay. So purchasing power parity increases the world happiness in score as purchasing power increases and people can afford goods and services to satisfy their wants and needs. So the greater the GDP per capita, the higher the world happiness score. As the purchasing power increases and people can afford goods and services to satisfy their needs and wants. For example, world happiness increased from 3.667 to 5.072. Due to a rise in Guinea's real GDP, due to a rise in Guinea's real GDP, was due to a rise in Guinea's real GDP increases. What kind of English is it?
Is it?
Due to a rise in Guinea's real GDP increases.
Real GDP. I don't know why I wrote increases again.
So as soon as GDP per capita increases in an economy, it brings about subjective happiness. Is it?
Yes. Theoretically, yes.
Unlikely impact of high real incomes in subjective happiness. So the impact is that?
People can afford goods and
Is
services.
that an impact? They said explain one likely impacts of higher real incomes on subjective happiness. So if income increases, what's the impact? It increases purchasing power of goods and services.
Yeah.
You get satisfied. So what other reasons, what other impacts will a high real GDP brings about?
What are the like factors of like development? And it's like now people can take out loans and mortgages as they're less worried or anxious about making payments.
A higher real income on subjective happiness. Now, he talked about purchasing. People are able to purchase goods and services that they want. That's an impact. What other impact aside purchasing that real income, an increase in real income will bring about when it comes to subjective happiness?
Consumer confidence
Consumer confidence.
and also business confidence.
Consumer and business confidence. Okay.
And also like people would tend to like take out more loans and mortgages.
Subjective happiness. An increase in real income, how does it impact on subjective happiness? You mentioned one, purchasing power increases. People will be able to buy goods and services. Aside that, what else? Aside that, what else, please?
Economics. I said that like people feel more secure financially.
It's more
Same
secure,
thing.
but it's still the same as purchasing.
But
More secure financially, okay?
so like
Okay,
after basic needs are met, additional income has a smaller effect. So it starts diminishing.
okay. I don't get you. You said, what other impacts will real income and increase brings about? Aside purchasing, you said what again?
Like more security financially.
Financial security.
Yeah,
So if there's financial security, what does that mean?
it reduces like stress and anxiety.
Okay, so yes, people can have a better immune system now.
Mhm.
Okay, because they are not
Also,
stressed.
like there's like indirect effects. Like it's in, it increases opportunities for like education, travel, and social connections, and
It
healthcare access, obviously.
it increases Human Development Index,
Yeah.
HDIs. Okay. Question 11. The chart shows Spain's current account of balance of payment between July 2021 and May 2022. What is current account?
Balance of the sum of trade in goods. No, that's current. Balance of
I said, what is the current account?
it's the dispose. It's the balance of the sum of trades in goods.
Current account.
Yeah,
What is balance of trade?
balance of trade is
Please write it out for me now. The question I'm asking you now is balance of BOP, balance of payment. What is balance of payment? What is balance of trade? What is current account? What is the current account balance of payment? What is balance of payment current account? So tell me now, please.
write it down.
Yes, I want the answer.
Okay.
Then current account. And what is current account deficit? I think you know that already.
I wrote the definitions of.
Yeah, I want what current account balance of payment means. I'm waiting, please. What is current account?
Writing them down.
Part of transaction between countries and the rest of the world over a period. For part of what account measures export minus import of goods. Foreign account records of transnational goods services income and foreign transfer with other countries. Okay. Okay. Foreign account deficit in the balance of payment. Current account deficit is the balance of is the balance of sum of goods, trade and services, foreign income and secondary income. Current account deficit is the balance of sum of goods, trade and services, primary income, secondary income become negative. Is look at your composition here. So current account deficit is the balance of sum of goods, trade and services, primary income and secondary income become negative. What's this? Current account surplus is the balance of sum of trade in services, primary income, and secondary income is positive. What kind of definition is this? I don't get it, please. Can you read what you wrote? Maybe you can make a meaning out of it.
Current account deficit is the balance sum of goods.
Balance sum. There's nothing like that.
Okay, it's the balance of goods, trade and services, primary income and secondary income. Becoming negative.
What? Why did you pause before you say it? Does it make a sentence there?
The current account surplus is when the balance of sum of trade and services, primary income and secondary income becoming positive.
No, that's not balance of payment and balance. It's not current account deficit. There's a current account deficit if
it's like the balance of the sum of trade in goods, trade in services, primary income and secondary income is negative. And then the current account surplus is balance of the sum of trade in goods, trade in services, primary income and secondary income is positive.
Current account surplus occurs when you have a positive figure on
the balance of trade
in services, primary income, and secondary income. But here, the way you write it, you're saying the question says, with reference to the chart, explain the difference between current account deficit and current account surplus. Before we go into current account deficit and surplus, what is current account? I asked you. Your definition was, I don't know, but let me just tell you what current account surplus or current account is. First, current account is a component of the balance of payment. In the balance of payment, we have the current account, we have the capital account, and the financial account. Those are the components of a balance of payments, which current account is part of them. So what is current account itself? Current account measures international transaction between countries for a specific period of time. That's what a current account does. It measures what international transactions of countries over a period of time. That's what current account measures. So when they ask you in the exam, what's the current account? The first thing you have to say is that current account is a component of the balance of payment, and it measures the international transactions over a specific period of time. That's current account. Now, we have current account surplus and current account deficit. Why do we call it current account deficit? We call it current account deficit because it occurs when a country's total imports in terms of goods, services, primary income, and transfer are greater than the exports of the same item. So that's what current account deficit is about. All the items of the current account, all the items in terms of import of goods, import of services, primary income, and transfer, in terms of imports, are greater than the same items when it comes to export. That is current account deficit. And for current account surplus, it's the opposite. The reverse is the case. So there's current account surplus when the country's total export of goods and services, income, and transfer are greater than the imports of the same item. That is what current account is about. Current account, again, like I told you earlier, is a component of the balance of payments, and it measures the total transaction or international transaction over a specific period of time. And we have current account deficit and current account surplus. It is current account surplus if exports of goods, export of services, primary income, and transfer are greater than imports of all the same items. That is what current account surplus is. And for current account deficit, it means all those items I mentioned now, the imports are greater than the exports. I think current account is clear now.
Yeah.
So question 12a, they said divide the term real GDP. Real GDP is the total value of output of goods and services in an economy in a given year adjusted for inflation. Great. That's done. Question B. So with reference to figure 2, explain how ILO unemployment is measured. What's ILO? What's the full meaning of ILO? The full meaning of ILO. Okay.
International, like,
International what? International Labour Organization. ILO. So ILO unemployment is measured by persons what, please? Persons out of work for 4 weeks, willing to work in the next 2 weeks. ILO unemployment is measured by the person, by a person's
a person being
out of work for 4 weeks, willing to work in the next 2 weeks. International Labour Organization unemployment according to ILO means that the total number of people who are willing to work within the next, who has been seeking for a job for the last 4 weeks.
First, like, they have been unemployed they're seeking a job, but they've been unemployed.
By a person out of work. You said out of work.
Out of work means unemployed.
Okay, out of work for 4 weeks and willing to work in the next 2 weeks. I've been seeking for employment for the last 4 weeks and are willing to work in the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. This can be seen according to figure 2. Between January 2022 and June 2022, youth unemployment in China increased from 15.3% to 19.3%. So that's unemployment. The total number of people who are seeking for a job for the last 4 weeks and are willing to work in the next 2 weeks. That is ILO unemployment. Okay.
The method they're using is the LFS labor force survey, and that's mentioned in the excerpt. And
between figure China increased from, where did you mention labor force survey? Where did you mention that?
I didn't mention it. I'm just telling you that it's in the excerpt.
Okay. Labor force survey. We go to C. They said, with reference to extract A, analyze 2 causes of China's high youth unemployment. Wait, let me go back to the case study. Extract A. China's okay. In the second quarter of 2022, China experienced a low rate of economic growth. This was as a result of domestic demand for goods and services and exports rising more slowly compared with the previous quarter. Economists estimated that China's economy would continue to experience a low rate of economic growth until the end of the year. Therefore, the country's economic growth forecast for 2022 was reduced from this to this. This low economic growth rate resulted in a further increase in the already high rate of youth unemployment. Resulted in a further increase in the already high rate of youth unemployment. So, reduce demand for goods and services, creating demand deficient unemployment. Okay. Okay. So, to increase, okay. So, the question is about 2 causes of high youth unemployment rate. The first one you talked about is demand deficiency, right? So, a mismatch between unemployment 15.3 in January 2022 to June 2022 was led between 2 causes, graduate qualifications and job requirements. So mismatch.
Yeah. Between two factors which are
Graduate qualifications and job requirements. So what is mismatch? What does it mean?
it's like a mismatch would be it's uncorresponded. So you have, for example, we want more economists, but we have more engineers.
So, okay.
This is a mismatch for the
We,
labor
we, have,
market.
we need more economists, we have more engineers.
We have more people graduated from engineering, yet we want less of engineers and, for example, more economists. So that's like a mismatch.
Then how does it become a mismatch?
There's excess demand. There's an excess supply of, for example, of labor and engineering than the demand for.
So okay, yeah, you said with a surplus of graduates, only 0.7 jobs were available per graduate in quarter three, leaving many unable to secure skilled.
Skilled employment.
Unemployment. I'll come back to that. There's mismatch when the jobs for bankers are being given to engineers because they couldn't find
Any bankers.
bankers. That is a mismatch.
Mhm.
But the action must occur before you call it a mismatch. Now back to you. You
Skilled
said
employment.
skilled, you said leaving many unable to secure skilled unemployment. Great. Skilled unemployment. That's a new economic stand. That's all.
Yeah.
So the two causes of youth unemployment is that there's mismatch between demand for and supply of labor, right?
Mhm.
And there is demand deficiency. And based on the fact that what is a derived demand? Demand for labor. Why is demand for labor? They say demand for labor is a derived demand. Why? Because you said there is reduced demand for goods and services, creating demand deficient unemployment. So, what is demand for labor first? What is demand for labor?
It's demand for jobs or yeah.
So when I ask you the exams, divine demand for labor, you're going to write demand for job.
Hmm.
Okay, what is demand for labor? And why is demand for labor
A
called
derived
a
demand.
derived demand? Yeah, what is demand for labor first?
Well, it's first of all, like demand for labor is the it's when
Demand for labor is the total number of workers firms are willing to employ at a given wage rate.
it's a derived demand because it depends on demand for the goods and services that
Workers,
labor helps produce.
demand for labor is a derived demand because workers are only employed for the services they want to
Yeah,
render.
because labor itself is not demanded for its own sake. Like firms don't hire workers just because they like employing people.
They don't want to waste money. They won't employ you to sit down.
Yeah, it's like they hire workers to produce output that can be sold.
Okay, so back to your skilled unemployment. The same situation in the morning happens now. So that means you still don't want to understand. You are the architect here, not me. You wrote it. I didn't write it, and you just gave it to me, and I saw what I saw. Is what it is. That's question 12C. We'll go to question 12D. With reference to extract A, we're still using extract A. It said, with reference to extract A, examine how a reflationary fiscal policy will impact China's secular flow of income. What is reflationary?
What is the reflationary?
Yes,
It's how do I call it?
reflationary fiscal policy.
Reflationary fiscal policy. It's how do I describe it? It's like a government policy aimed like to stimulate economic growth and increase demand.
Thank you.
Usually it's during recession for economic activity.
Okay, that's inflationary. Okay. So China's government can boost economic activity through increased spending, such as the 75 billion allocated to infrastructure, injecting into the circular flow of income. Similarly, 100% tax breaks on research and development, reduce withdrawals, and encourage business investment, creating further injections. The impact may be significant given the magnitude of policies, but effectiveness depends on other injections. We are supposed to examine, and you gave me just 3 points.
You can flip the page, but like there's 2 sentences, I think.
Withdrawals and time lags of 18 to 24 months could delay
Results.
result. Wait, the time lag. Let me say something here first. Mm. Mm. Yeah, what does time lag means?
It's like the result doesn't come straight away. It takes time to make an impact. Like a decision takes time to make an impact.
When decision takes longer period to make an impact.
Then previewed.
That's time lag. Okay. Twelve E. 12E, right?
Yeah.
Okay. With reference to the information provided, discuss the likely effect of inflationary monetary policy on the economy of China. Okay. Inflationary monetary policy. So inflationary monetary policy aims to increase aggregate demand. In August, in August.
Okay, mister.
It's not okay. It's not just okay. August. The proper noun. I have to start teaching your grammar here. The PBOC. What's PBOC?
People's Bank of China.
Thank you. The People's Bank of China cut the base rate from 3.7 to 3.65 and reduced reserve requirements, increasing money supply. So, inflationary monetary policy aims to increase aggregate demand. Okay. So in August 2022, the PBOC had cut the base rate from 3.57 to 3.65 and reduced reserve requirements, increasing money supply. Lower interest rates encourages consumption as borrowing becomes cheaper and saving looks less attractive, while variables like loan repayment fall, raising disposable income. Wealth effects boost spending and weaker exchange rates improves net exports. So with reference to information provided and your knowledge, discuss likely effects of inflationary monetary policy. Now, the wealth effect. Wealth effect. It boosts spending, weaker exchange rates improves net exports. Now, tell me, please. A fall in interest rates, does it bring about a rise in exchange rates? I'll be right back, please.
Does a fall in exchange rate bring about?
My question says, will a fall in interest rate bring about a rise in exchange rates?
No, it reduces the value of currency.
A fall in interest rate?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's like lower returns on investment, and like people like visitors would be less attracted to keeping their money in.
Visitors?
Yeah.
Visitors or foreign investors or foreign savers?
It's foreign investors.
Foreign savers.
Okay. Because they earn less by keeping their money there because the currency becomes weak.
Okay, so the demand for a country's currency would fall.
Yeah.
If the exchange rate falls.
Yeah.
So what happens to what's it called?
Exports?
Exports, yes.
Well, since selling local currency to buy foreign currency puts like downward pressure, it puts like downward pressure on its economy. It makes like exports cheaper.
Cheaper. So,
which also helps the economy.
How?
Well, because stuff becomes cheaper, mister.
If exports increases,
Yeah.
How does it
help the
economy? Yes.
How does exports
How does an increase in exports help the economy? It improves the balance of payments. Simple. It improves the balance of payments.
Okay.
Because everything we do needs to be it has to reflect on our BOP.
Yeah.
That's why we call it export.
It also boosts like aggregate demand, right?
Yes, because export is a component.
So firms produce more.
So now you tell me about wealth effect. What is wealth effect?
Wealth effect is like the rise of the price of assets of an individual or household
That's
that has assets.
an increase in what? What is wealth effect?
Wealth effects is the increase in how a person's assets
Uh-huh.
and a person's assets.
Okay. Which increases its consumption, which increases its confidence level. They call it wealth effect for some reason. It's not just an increase in your assets. Oh, your asset increases. What happens afterwards? Your asset increases, that increases your spending. That increases your confidence level. That is why it is wealth effect. That is a positive wealth effect. Then there's a negative wealth effect when the value of your asset drops, which now bring about
Reduced consumption.
yes, it's a wealth effect. So there's positive, there's negative. So here you said wealth effect boosts spending and weaker exchange rates improves net exports. Important importation. You want to write over?
Yeah.
Well done, thank you. Since Chinese exports were rising more slowly, firms benefit from lower borrowing costs, stimulating investment. Okay. Investment will increase because the base rate interest rate falls. Okay. Together, these factors shift the aggregate demand outward or rightward. Why are you using outward for aggregate demand?
Southward.
Aggregate demand, rightward.
Okay.
It's not PPC. PPF and PPC use outward, inward for rightward. Raising the real GDP, reducing unemployment and generating demand pull inflation. Why will a fall in base rate interest bring about demand pull inflation?
What?
Why will a fall in the base rate interest bring about demand pull inflation? And what is demand pull inflation? Yes, I'm asking everything at the same time. Why? How?
Why does what?
Demand pull inflation bring about, how will a fall in the base rate interest bring about demand pull inflation? And what is demand pull inflation? Oh, answer me, please.
Well, because like
Why will demand pull inflation? Why will demand pull inflation bring about, why will a fall in the base interest rate or a cut in the interest rate bring about demand pull inflation? And what is demand pull inflation?
well, first of all, even if inflation is like at the target, the central bank might lower interest rates.
I said, don't explain what, I'm not talking about the central bank here. I said, and it is clear, why will a fall or a cut in the base interest rate?
Because it encourages spending and investment.
It encourages spending and investment. Would that increase demand? Would that bring about demand pull inflation?
Yeah.
Why? Why is what demand pull inflation is? So what is demand pull inflation?
Demand pull inflation is it's when like it's when aggregate demand in an economy like rises faster than like aggregate supply.
Demand pull inflation is an inflation caused by an increasing demand or increasing aggregate demand within the economy. That is demand pull inflation. So,
Which means it's aggregate demand in an economy rises faster than aggregate supply, right?
yeah. Okay.
This is
You're
what I
not,
said.
yeah, your answer is right. But why is it taking you so long to answer?
Um,
Because of what? That's question 12D or 12E. 12E, right? So that ends question 12. So go to question. Don't tell me you did 14 this time around.
I don't know. What did I do?
I don't know what you did. You did 14 again, as usual. The next one, you do 13, please.
Okay.
So question 14, it said, in July 2021, Rwanda's inflation rate was negative 1.1, and in November 2021, it was negative 3.4%. Evaluate the possible causes of deflation, refer to a country of your choice in your answer. So a negative inflation rate is what? A negative inflation rate is called what?
A negative inflation rate is deflation.
Deflation, okay. That's the first thing. Inflation occurs when the general price level falls over time, as seen in Rwanda's, where the inflation was negative. One possible cause is a fall in aggregate demand. Okay. Weak consumer spending, perhaps due to reduced incomes or higher unemployment, can lower demand, putting downward pressure on prices. In Rwanda, the COVID-19 pandemic reduced tourism and trade, contributing to demand deficient deflation. A fall in government spending or lower investment by firms may also reduce aggregate demand, reducing both output and prices. Deflation can also arise from increase in aggregate supply. If productivity improves or import fall, production cost decreases, encouraging firms to cut prices. Rwanda's agricultural sector, which is significant for food supply, experienced good harvest in 2021. This likely reduced cost. This likely reduced cost, a key driver of overall deflation. Because the cost is reducing, okay? The consequence can be damaging. Falling price reduces business revenues, discouraging investment, and possibly increasing unemployment. Consumers may delay spending in anticipation for further price fall, worsening the slowed on. What was this?
Where is it? Slow down.
Slow down. However, mild deflation from rising supply may benefit consumers by raising real incomes. So, for the agricultural sector, we said, okay, good harvest in 2021. This is likely reduce cost, a key driver of overall deflation. Okay, I will mild. So, with deflation, said the causes are if a fall in the cost of agricultural products, unemployment, right? Unemployment,
Yeah.
increase in aggregate supply, okay? A fall in government spending or lower investments can also bring about that. Okay, great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You made 8 points. Allow delay spending in anticipation for further price falls wasn't the slowdown. However, mild deflation from rising supply may benefit consumers by raising real incomes. Okay, that's 2 marks there. So you make 8 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You make further 2 points. So that ends October 2023 paper 2. Let's calculate, please.